Hey y'all, welcome to the Shift Hit the Fan podcast. Listen, um, a lot of this rides on like me and my health um, when we're gonna film or whatever or record. So we did have a recording for y'all this for this week for tomorrow. But I guess it's not totally playing out the way that everyone expected. So I do have I do have a uh, I do have content for you. Um, this is just what we're dealing with right here. My fog is what didn't have the last recording go as we were hoping it would flow, and but we did have a really good meditation session that I want to share with y'all. It's just Elias and me ended up being the only ones on the call, so it was perfect. And and we wanted to share that with you, like what we talked about after they came up in the meditation. And since this is a lot of what we're doing anyways, we're bringing what we do in our meditation community out into the real world, um, or the rest of the world, to expand it out freely to people, to make it available, to make the space that we hold for each other available to more people. We we thought we would share what came up for each of us individually during the meditation. So that's what you're gonna see the recording is about, is what came up for each of us that was sort of um, parallel, like usual, like the way it usually is with Elias and me. Is we're often going through a lot of the same things, and so we've been able to hold space for each other and help each other through certain things. And yeah, so he and I are going to talk. I might include the part of the recording where my friend Solma comes in as well. She's okay with it, but I'm going to see how it goes and how much time we have for this. I may include a little bit because I did recap what Elias and I were talking about to catch her up because she came in late in the conversation. So, yeah, here it is.
You back.
Again. Oh, how do you feel?
Good. While I was in there, I just was thinking about purpose and creation and kind of some words that a friend of mine and I were talking about. And she was saying that, everything that has been here is has just been patterns, and like even names. And I think we probably got into some of this with Twitchy, but um, talking about how names will manifest, like watching names and listening to names or learning people's names, you can know what their pattern of life is going to be. And I think we see that a lot with the names that we're going with in like how we were talking about the alchemy names and learning what our names are and how those names have manifested in our own life. And so the question that I've had is like, well, if our lives are all patterned out and everything's always the same, and there's never um like it's just a repeat over and over and over again of these patterns. And like, what's the point? Where's the pure creation? And as I was thinking about that, I don't know that this life is meant to be the life of pure creation. I think that was something that we chose when we created this life and designed it before we came down here, is that maybe we're not meant to have these purest creations, and maybe we're meant to learn to create together. It's a co-creation of what of like, I don't know, just all the co-creation, I guess you could call, of God and the universe, but also with each other, the creating what other people have created and taking that and creating more from it. And so it just becomes this beautiful spiral of more and more creation. And so you learn to take somebody else's creation and you take that, and it's like more, it's like the medium that you get to create more things with. And it feels very artistic, of like, here's the medium, here's all the material, here's all the matter, now go create something with it. And I think as we do that, as we continue to learn to create with what's already been created, then we start to break those patterns and start to break. As we see the patterns, we can break the patterns. And as we break those patterns and break away from them, I think then we start getting more and more into that pure creation. But I think we have to learn what those patterns are. We have to learn what has already been created in us and around us and with. And so to me, it was just finding that sense of purpose behind what's already been created, and the sense of like learning. There's a purpose behind learning all of these things, and it's not just to absorb somebody else's material and say this is the truth, this is the thing, but also to absorb it and say, all right, this is what's here. Now, what do we want to do with it? How can we use that to create something new, or to produce something that we really want to produce? Yeah, that was really what I was thinking about with a lot of that. Yeah, I just thought that was really cool to think of it like that. And that's the purpose of this life, is just to co-create together.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful.
And
Oh.
well, I guess I started out with like this view of being out in space and the light coming from me and creating from that light. But as I was doing that, I was realizing all of that light was already things that I'd already seen before.
Mm.
And I imagined a star being a star way out there and still shedding light. So that was kind of where it started.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was basically it. What you got?
I started out with just a stream of thoughts, I think in the same vein of where you were going, but from, the perspective of like um allowing people to love me. I have for a long time tried to guide people out of their love for me. And I was basically told to stop doing that. Just, stop trying to um, like get them to see that I'm not the one or whatever. And so I'm being reminded of it now in this to stop trying to control other people's love for me and let it be a co creation and just be gentle with it, and own that people feel a certain way about me and it's okay. There's nothing I really need to do with that because I have been losing myself in all of that. Um, and I don't allow it to be a co creation and I don't allow just the flow of things because I take myself out of it. I'm constantly trying to change myself to be less attractive to certain people, just to take care of them and their feelings. And that
Yeah.
really messed me up in my last relationship, because that's why I don't, I'm in this space of, doing that for 7 years, being in this space of like no longer remembering like my sexuality, my sexual energy, and who I am for people and what makes me attractive and all that. Not being able to own it anymore because I shut it off for so long. And yeah, so allowing for that co-creation and for people to just love and give whatever they want, um, and how they feel because they've got stuff they need to deal with, and I'm not supposed to be um, trying to like coddle and take care of everybody.
Yeah, you don't need to change that.
Yeah, that is where the dark feminine is made clearer.
Mm.
And my heart, like the pressure as I was thinking all of this was like, releasing. Right now it's in my chest. It's not in my heart anymore, but it's moved, and that's the good thing. It's like it's pushing it out finally because I'm releasing that.
Yeah.
So now I'm just in that outer sensation of it. So yeah, definitely co-creation.
Yeah.
Um,
It's interesting to think of the dark feminine because a lot of times the feminine is seen as a creative and also destructive force. And I was thinking of that idea that fighting conflict with conflict creates more conflict. What's something that's more destructive is almost just letting the thing peter out on its own.
yeah,
And like you let something be and it runs out of energy and then it just kind of self destructs and then it moves on to the next creation.
well, that was our podcast.
There we go. We could just shoot
We
it out
did
there. Here's a
it.
meditative podcast for you.
Yeah.
My body is being like seized at the moment.
Yeah.
Yep. Not exactly sure why, but this is the second time it's happened the past few days.
Hmm.
It
What
happened on
what is it like?
Friday. Just muscle tension, like the muscles are contracting right up through my spine, my butt. It was up in my neck a little bit ago.
Okay.
Friday it happened when we were going for a walk as we were training, and I was turning all of my energy inward, and it was kind of almost a euphoric kind of feeling, but I could feel all the energy of my environment around me coming to me, and it was just like seizing my entire spine and neck, and was rather intense. And then right after I got done saying stuff just now, it started seizing up again.
You think you just need to sit and be with it?
Well, that's what I'm doing. I laid down on a tree.
Awesome. Is there anything that comes up with that?
Feels like it's trying to shed some old piece of me.
Like my chest.
Like your chest.
Yeah, like my pain moved from being in my heart to my chest. But it's painful. Um and it does feel kind of like a cramp, like that squeezing, like the tension.
This is almost
Um
like a cramp,
like we're
but then
moving
again,
through stuff.
yeah, it's just like a really strong muscle contraction.
Yeah.
It's really weird.
I I love that, like we're both doing it though. Both going through it after our co-creation stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's just things wanting to move through us and fighting tooth and nail to stay the same, and it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay that you want to fight to stay there. I see you.
And I relax. And it's just like this pure relaxation. Like I had that dream the other night where I was surrounded by all my stickwork people, and I asked someone to, like, one of the girls to sit on my crotch, and she said no,
Hmm.
but she stood that by me anyways. And I was just kind of like, I guess I have to step into this myself, don't I?
Hmm.
Like it's not something somebody else can heal for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's something I have to open up to myself.
I mean, hey, Solma.
Yeah, that was something else that another voice that had been coming in recently, of like feeling like my body had been being used by other people,
Mm-hmm.
between work and, um, sex with my wife, or just various different things that I felt like other people had been using my body. But at the same time, it was kind of the feeling that I had given myself for just using my body in ways that, I guess you could say, like coping ways, through like pornography or sugar or caffeine or whatever. I felt like it was coming out of my body, of like, I have just been using my body, and I've been letting other people just use my body instead of really being integrated with my body
Mm-hmm.
and what it's feeling, and listening to it, and letting my body have its own intelligence, kind of going back to that co-creation thing, like my body is creating something and I get to create something with it.
Yeah.
I hear the deeper.
We're talking about sexual energy.
Okay. I hear the deeper integrity of
Yeah.
fully listening, you know, to the self, to the body, and then sharing it is the act of honoring that, honoring the word. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's what came up for us with our meditation just now.
So was the meditation on the sexual energy, or it just
it just happened. We were both sort of in the co-creation conversation in that meditation, and mine ended up being about sexual energy and not controlling how people love me. And that's kind of where Elias was making a correlation with what he's going through with his dream and his aversion to being touched and all that, and working through all of that, just allowing for it, letting things be a co-creation, and not trying to control how others feel about you and all that, because I'm supposed to be owning my dark feminine energy, and that's a part of it. That's an access to it for me. Because I've been trying to guide people out of their love for me, and I shift my energy to help them. So I shift myself to be less attractive to them,
Okay.
to try to take care of them. Yeah. So now you're all caught up.
Well, it's April 1st. It's the month of heart. And so, heart full of love.
Heart. Oh.
And last night I was talking to Sion, and she asked me, you know, the love language that, you know, what's Jake's and what's mine. And I really hadn't, I mean, I'd heard of those, but I hadn't bothered with them. So it was helpful, you know. And yet it led for me also to share about the Tantra part that I'd taken from that one course online that shared about the man serving the woman to climax. However, it was based on like goddess energy as well as God energy, to where when it's saved for the full moon, like no activity until the full moon, then there becomes a ritual of the god and goddess copulating and sharing and reaching heights and honoring each other. Now, people I've seen or read actually turn that into, if the man then is subservient to the woman, it's not intended for that. Just to clarify that. But you know, when the man is with the woman and he wants that for her and he is in service to her, it doesn't mean that he's subservient. But it's easy to see how it could be turned into that. It's an honoring. Yeah. So then that was last night, and you guys get on this morning. There was an event yesterday already, or? No, yesterday was the resting day from Saturday's event. Oh my God. The, the only hard thing about that event was that it was pounding music way too loud for like 5 hours. I
Pounding
left.
music, pun
Yes.
intended.
Oh, no, I didn't even think of that.
Pun intended.
Oh my God. Yeah, well. But do you get, I mean, like there's just sexual energy right now.
Yeah.
Apparently, you
Yeah.
know, like, okay. Believe it or not.
It's
Yeah,
funny.
it came up for all of us, one way or another in our lives. Whatever we do with it.
That's awesome. It's in the air.
Yeah.
We were talking about whips in the training this last week, and there's a whip that my trainer and I had bought together. Like he bought one, he's like, "Hey, here, this looks like a good whip. Try buying this one. It's fairly cheap." And I said, "All right." So I bought it too. And we were talking about it, and he pulls it out, and he's like, "Yeah, this one's just, it's kind of floppy." And I'm like, "Yeah, it needs Viagra." And I don't know. For me, it was this. I don't know. I guess I just needed a moment to laugh, but I just started cracking up laughing because it kind of just stopped him in his tracks. What he was saying of like. So, anyways, I was laughing
About his
about that
limp
for like
whip.
the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Nice.
You went.
All
Yes.
right, I gotta jump off. Head back into work.
Okay. Bye.
Love
Love
y'all.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Whatever it was that I had thought about calling you about, I think it's past. I made it through.
All right.
Yeah.
Glad you made it on.
Yeah.
I
Love
think it
you.
all worked out perfect.
Yeah.
I love you.
And let's see the hearts. Yes. Is it can do it?
There
Yes.
they are. All for you.
Right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. That's a wrap, kids. You got a full, well, not a full taste of. You got a taste of what our community's about. Normally we have more people on. This this was recorded on Monday. I'm still recovering from my weekend. Excuse me. But this is what I'm usually like anyway, so yeah, it takes a lot of effort a lot of planning and focus to get myself on these calls that I host 3 times a week for this community. For now, I'm gonna wrap this up and um and that's it. I'm gonna wrap it up. All right. The end.